Okay, I think it looks like we're live on YouTube. A little earlier than normal because I've got a meeting later today. I've been quite busy recently, and so I haven't always been able to keep up with these Tuesday 6 p.m. live streams. So I'm doing a kind of slightly before 4 p.m. one, and maybe a few of the same people can rock in. If that gets, I want to keep doing at least one weekly live stream, but I might have to make it. I guess I might have to make it more like when I can do it rather than a regular time slot. And maybe that works anyway. You know, I know Americans kind of, depending on whereabouts they are in America, then around 6 p.m. UK time is good for them. Generally, it's a bit more daytime for them. But yeah, I wanted to do something. I didn't do one last week. So I was just checking if it's I'm on the right, because I've got two channels now. So anyway, I'm all set up. What have I been up to? I'm just gonna have a little bit of this chai. Very interesting. This maybe you haven't seen this yogi chai. They started making it in Tetra packs. I used to drink yogi tea back in the old days for Yogi Bhajan stuff, and now you get it in the Tetra pack. So, and you kind of add milk and heat it up. It's pretty cool. What have I been up to? I've been up to well, this weekend actually. I mean, last weekend. What did I do last weekend? Bloody hell, I should know. I feel I should know that. I ran a conscious clubbing event here at Leela, and that was good fun. It was kind of relaxing, and spent quite a lot of time in the sauna in the evening, hanging out, chatting to people, sometimes getting in long political discussions, which I think I need to look at a little bit, rather than totally chilling or whatever. And this weekend, I'm going to help. Elliot Hulse invited me to come and help a bit with his London thing. So it'll be exciting to meet him. I've never met him in person before. I might rock up on Saturday and see a bit, but I think he's doing a talk thing on Saturday, and then he's doing this grounding camp on Sunday in central London. So I still need to check out where it is actually, but I shall be up there and hopefully maybe run a little bit something there, and anyway get a chance to meet him. So that'll be exciting. Also, what's going on? I'm moving. I'm actually, because I'm mostly based, those of you know me, in Osho Leela, Osho community, a bit in the middle of nowhere, slightly in Dorset, North Dorset in the UK. And I'm going to start from January getting a flat in Brighton. So I'm half a week in Brighton and half a week in Dorset, which I'm looking forward to, because I just need some more city energy, and I want to start running some new stuff and get my finger right back on the pulse, feel what's going on, particularly in the kind of male side of therapy, so to speak, because I'm missing. I'm feeling like the men are the male side of masculinity. You know, the male side, well, masculine side, basically, is a bit left out in our culture. You know, it's like it's really, really weak, and I feel like I want to give some stuff there, get involved in what is going on, get into a more male energy in the city, and have that as a base. It'd be nice to have a flat somewhere else as well. I've been making a bit of money on the cryptos, and hopefully that will. I lost quite a lot, and then I made a bit. So hopefully that can that will pay my way, as Brighton can be quite a pricey city to live in. But anyway, I'm feeling very excited about that, and it feels like a good thing to do. You know, it's always a marker for me when something's not quite working, or I can feel myself getting a bit grouchy or resentful or something like that. It's time for me to look inside and see what I need to change, and that's what I needed to change. Basically, was to really get out there and start doing my own thing a bit more. I lived communally just nearly all my adult life, to be honest. You know, probably 80–90% of my adult life I lived communally, squats, shared houses, and spiritual community now for 16.5 years. So I also really relish, you know, people relish coming to the community to relax. I relish going to the middle of a city to just get into the city energy. You know, I don't go out and party quite so much these days, but I do relish it. Anyway, not so much happening on the chat. I guess it is the wrong time of day for a lot of people, but I'll do 10 minutes or so anyway, just to keep a little bit of the energy going. And then hopefully next Tuesday, the 13th, I should be all right for 6 p.m. I just couldn't swap this meeting. It got shoved around, and then I got to do it really. So that's how it is. Anyway, another thing people often want to know is, what am I doing in my daily practice? And at the minute, I've been quite full on. I've developed this 1 hour thing, which is a combination of bow and arch and chakra breathing, which I hopefully will get on YouTube soon. I haven't done so many workout videos. I've been doing my step up videos, and I want to do some more workout videos. So bow and arch chakra breathing is a full-on fucking process. Those of you who do chakra breathing, you basically spend 2 minutes breathing into each. It goes an Osho thing, and it goes along with you normally do it sitting or standing, and you do it breathing into each chakra sequentially for 2 minutes. And I do it in the bow and arch. So you do the first 4 leaning down, so that's 8 minutes in the arch position, breathing and feeling right into the first, second, third, fourth chakras coming up, and then you come up into the bow position, and you do the last 3: throat, third eye, and crown. And then you have like 20 seconds downtime, and you go round 3 times like this, and it really shifts some stuff. I mean, I start to understand when I started to teach bioenergetics, I did not focus so much on the bow and arch. And, I was working with the belly a lot. I was working with other stuff, the feet and the legs and the arms, all of which is important. But at the end of the day, a lot of the shit that we carry around, as we try and keep our little personality going, neural networks addicted to pumping stuff out a certain way, a lot of the shit we carry around, it's in the back of the legs and the lower back. That's where it is. And the bow and arch gets to it. And it's as simple as that. It gets to it. And so, I'm leading a little group here at Leela, the team leader program. I have to do it twice a week. And I think it's not the favorite bioenergetic exercise they've got, the chakra breathing bow and arch, but it is very, very strong. And progressively over time, it really opens stuff up. It is opening stuff up in my back that I knew was lurking around there, and I hadn't really mobilized that energy yet. And it's starting to mobilize it, and it's giving me more energy. It's giving me more energy still, and feeling like, yeah, I want to do this, and get involved in lifestyle. I'm 57. I don't, for a while I was like, oh, I'm getting old now. Maybe I should think about retiring. And then you start doing some bio and you just fuck that. You're just coming into your fucking prime. So I'm just coming into my prime. So I'm looking forward to, I'm going to keep this up. I've been doing it about 3 weeks. I've missed the odd morning when I've been doing something else, but chakra breathing bow and arch, I need to make a workout video for it and get it together, and then we'll have that online. The intense ones, I know it's not easy for some people to do it, and I'll give a little bit of guidance, but it's good to put some advanced stuff out. What I see when most people come to my workshops who've been on my channel is that they don't quite commit enough to really know the practice, to know the exact position and to maintain it. And so that's why these workout videos are handy. Hey, Welter, yeah, man, it's helpful in starting. They're helpful. They're very, very helpful. And there's also got a guy around who hopefully is going to start developing. He's getting it together, a phone app, very exciting for Android or iOS, where you can select a bioenergetic exercise and it tells you how to do it and gives you a little bit of theory and all that. And then it talks you through it as it guides you through it. Because what you need with bioenergetics, as with several of these similar therapies that I teach, you need someone on your case while you're doing it, because you will easily go into defensive. Even though you're holding the position, often you're not breathing right, or you're not really in there. You've skipped off into your mind. I do it all the fucking time. I'm not so bad these days, but when I started doing bio, I would jump out of there all the fucking time. And so it's natural we do that because we live in such a head-centered world. You're doing the arch, but you're not really present in your body doing it. So you need a lot of reminders to check the body position is just right, to check the breathing is just right. So hopefully this phone app comes out maybe next year, and that will be some exciting stuff for people. Maybe make it free and then charge a bit if you to do more exercises. This guy's been interested in it, and I think it's an excellent idea. So what else is happening? See if there's any questions. I've only got a couple of people online today, and I'll do a bit, but I think it's a bit early. It's all right for the Europeans. Like I said earlier, I can't do 6 p.m. today, and I couldn't do it last Tuesday, so I'm looking when I can do live streams. It will be useful also if you watch this later, or if you're even watching it now, to know if you prefer the fixed time and day, or if you're okay just to kind of just rock up and see if it's coming. And I'll try and do it at a time when it's okay for the US market. A little bit of this chai. It's very nice actually. This yogi tea pre-made chai in a. I showed it earlier in a Tetra Pak. Not bad at all. I mean, riddled with sugar, of course. Probably doesn't admit that, but it's sugary as fuck. Anyway, I'm pretty busy in the daytime. I'm creating also quite a lot of content for my other YouTube channel on crypto passive income, how to make money doing very little, which is quite a high risk occupation. And I found that, you know, being a therapist, it's being a therapist, you know, I'm working with quite a lot of heavy cases, and having been around the addiction scene and crime and stuff, you know, I'm quite good so far at really working out what's a scam and what's not, and what's the risk level. So I've been enjoying doing that, looking at different areas of the crypto scene where you can make a bit of money not doing much. And that's been taking a bit of my time, just creating some content for that. And otherwise, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting down to Brighton and being there in the new year. I'm off to Nepal in December. I've never been there before, and that sounded like a cool place to go, so I thought I'd rock down there. Interesting to hear. If anyone's does cut in, and you've got any questions about bioenergetics, and share a bit about why you don't manage to keep it going or whatever, because it's such an awesome practice, and yet it is so kind of deep, but it is really challenging, and we will find excuses. It takes a certain kind of person to really step up and stick with it. I often get, you know, young guys in my classes, you know, quite tough guys, go to the gym and strong, fit, and they can push themselves, do cross training and stuff, do cross training all the time. Bioenergetics, 2 minutes, whining like a bitch, you know, because you're opening up also on a very deep emotional level. Not always, of course, not always, but it is genuinely challenging, because it's not just about pushing your body and pushing your energy and getting the endorphins going. There's a little bit of that in there, and you certainly get the highs with it, but it's also about opening up all the areas of your body where you've been repressing stuff while you're trying to project this perfect personality out. And so that is an inevitable level of quite high challenge in the thing, quite high challenge. And I see a lot of people really struggle with it. They struggle with that level of challenge. And that's just how it is. People are always asking me pretty much every second stream, you know, how come bio's not more popular? It's been around since the 50s and 60s and stuff. And the answer is as simple as that. It's challenging as fuck, and most human beings ain't ready for it. Simple as that. If you're in a total fucking crisis, you know, if your life is really fucked up and you know it, you know, maybe then you can motivate. And I've been in that space. And maybe then you can motivate yourself to really get into the bio and to move into it, you know. But if you're not in that space, it takes someone who's really got a level of commitment to step up to do it. And you know, I'm looking the whole scene, I'm observing the scene, I'm trying to not go into judgments, and I'm looking how can we really support the people who've got it somewhere that they want to really fucking take it on to do it. And that'll be part of my journey when I move to Brighton, to examine new avenues, to get more in touch with other stuff that's going on. I'm thinking I might even go and do Dan Peña's QLA course up in Scotland, if he'll have me. I'm so old. Which is real. He's doing some real kick-ass stuff for young businessmen and stuff like that. He's really fucking on it. I mean, the guy's 73 and he's really fucking on it. Full on, you know. I don't know if I totally agree with everything he does, but I mean, he certainly gets results. And I'm open to it. I'm interested. I came from a slightly more feminine background, feeling the heart and that kind of thing. And then I got much more into the male gut-centered side. So I'm just interested in stuff. Okay, I better check the chat and be a good host. Flip between it and Qigong and softer things. Wonder what you think of Qigong and bioenergetics. From Adam, yeah, man, whatever works for you. The thing is just to look, you know, the thing is always to look if in the flitting, if there's some level of avoidance going on. That's the key, the awareness, to bring the awareness in. When, today I don't fancy doing that. Today I don't fancy doing that. I'll just do this, you know. Is that because you're avoiding something? Or is that, you know, yeah, okay, I've got enough from that now and I'm just going to move on to this. You know, that's a little bit, I can't tell you that, you know, you know yourself. And that's a little bit where the awareness comes in and where the commitment to going deeper can come in, you know, the commitment to going deeper. Because this shit works, but it is quite a deep journey. And you do need to look practically what support you need. You know, it's bioenergetics is a deep fucking journey, simple as that. I hope that's useful for you. Ethan, hey Dev, good to see you. Nice to hear you see your line. Found myself lately putting off the bio. Think after a few sessions, a little story of okay, I've done enough now, released enough, comes up in my head. Yeah, it's a popular little story, that one. You can pick it out and just chuck it on the side. I'm being a bit more kick-ass today, and I'm getting a bit more kick-ass slowly, just having done a lot of heart-centered work and seeing also the value to really try and hold people in the process. You know, And it can be that you've cleared enough and you need processing time. You know, it can also be that. But it's good. I'm gonna put out this chakra breathing bow and arch soon, which is a really full-on 1 hour exercise. You can also do just 15, 30 or 45 minutes of it, but it's very full on, and it will really, you know, take things to another level if you can stick to it and actually complete it, basically complete it, actually doing it properly, you know. So watch out for that. I've been a little bit lazy with the workouts, and I need to kick my own ass with that a little bit more and get that chakra breathing bioenergetic workout. It's part of, I'm slowly coming up with a concept of shamanic body work, you know, is what I like, where you take a few of the bioenergetic things, and I also introduce some level of energy work in there. With the chakra breathing bow and arch, you can also, if you want an extra level of challenge, if it's not intense enough for you, most people doing it is quite intense enough for them. If they can even survive, they're doing good. But if it's not intense enough for you, you can also go out in the cold and do it there at about 0 degrees in your boxer shorts. So that'll be, I might start putting that out a bit for people who really want to fucking challenge themselves. And it's very powerful. Cold is an amazing teacher. Cold is the most incredible teacher, you know, for something that is, I mean, especially in Britain, around all the time. Maybe if you live in Southern California, it's a bit different. But if you're in the UK, I mean, there's a lot of cold about, basically. You don't have to search too hard most of the year. And it's an incredible teacher. I've been doing this cold shower, cold training thing for the last 2 years now. And it is fucking incredible. It is just fucking incredible what the cold can do for you. And nowadays I'm sleeping, I still have my duvet and stuff, and sometimes my girlfriend's around and she likes the warm, she's Italian, but she's getting into the cold showers now. But, you know, I put the hits thermostat right down, and I wake up and it's about 8-9 degrees, and I'm happy doing bioenergetics in that temperature. You know, it's really, really good. So, you know, I'm planning some more kick-ass kind of exercises, and you can give those a try. And, you know, how can I understand neurotic patterns like the parasites in your mind? Well, sometimes I use the word parasites in the mind to describe what in semiotics or whatever the proper word is in language studies, memes, basically, you know, units of information that we tend to import. And there's an excellent book called The Meme Machine by Susan Blackmore. Dr. Susan Blackmore. Check that out, from the late 90s. Very good book. Very good book if you want to understand this stuff. You know me, I read a bit of fiction. I don't often read non-fiction because I find most of it a heap of shite. I'll check things out for a little bit. People pad stuff out, you know, pad stuff out. I also pad stuff out a bit sometimes when I'm talking, but that's more like the way my mind works. But, you know, you can understand a lot of habits, behaviors, and belief systems in particular as parasitic. You don't have to understand it that way. You have a choice how you understand it. It is not always useful to consider every thought in your brain as a parasite, but make sure you're not beating yourself up with that. Nevertheless, on a deep meditative kind of Buddhist, really deep level, you know, it's absolutely valid to consider many thought patterns as essentially parasitic in a sense. In that what's happened is to avoid confrontation with certain levels of primal emotionality, which is what neurosis is on a body-based therapeutic level. It's a basically avoidance strategy. And to avoid the strategy, we import into our mind belief systems, the bottom line of which is I don't need to confront that. For example, you know, someone who just never wants to be angry, you know, imports the belief system, but all you need is positivity, and you know, anger's not necessary, and if you can just be with yourself, then you never need to get angry. But you know, the reason they're doing that is not because that's some kind of innate truth of the universe, but because that belief system is appealing to them, because then they don't have to encounter their own anger, which is probably locked in a system from childhood invasion wounds. That's what it is 95% of the time. So, you know, that's just an example of how the brain will import belief systems to avoid and repeat them to itself, and, you know, repeat them to other people as well. Here's my little belief system, you know, and the reason why it's doing that is to avoid confronting the deep emotional woundedness inside. And so that's an example. You can also look, if you're interested, at Dr. Blackmore's book, which doesn't cover that kind of thing, but it's a lot more kind of you know, layman's theory about memes, which is very interesting. Ethan again. Think the story of having completed enough is my mind's way of avoiding going into anxiety from the past. It's funny looking out for excuses your mind's come up with. Yeah, exactly. I had the book of excuses going for a while, and that was excellent. You know, it's it can be great to just write out all these excuses. It really shows you, you know, when you do that, just what the fuck your mind gets up to avoid stuff. And it is, like Welter said, is you know, it's importing all these kind of parasites, belief systems in just to keep everything at bay, you know. Have a little sip of my chai. But it is funny, yeah, and it's amazing. And of course, the main thing is that, you know, if you write all this stuff down, that's really taking a position, you know. All the excuses I come up with, and read them once a day at least, you know, then at some point they stop working so much. At some point I probably do, you know, I talk a lot about the defensive layer, and to me that's vital to understand therapy and moving forwards if you want to work on your own. You know, this idea that between your awareness and what you can feel now and see now and all the shit that's lurking in your muscle system, as it starts to rise, there's this layer of defense and hijacking that comes in the middle and just finds a way to get you out of what you're doing. And if you want to understand anxiety, all you need to do is to understand the defensive layer. That is 90% of it, in that certain primal wounds are constantly coming up or being triggered, or your midbrain is trying to pull you in there. And what happens is, as soon as the feeling starts to get to the defensive layer, it's, you know, it's pulling you out. It's pulling you out straight away. It's finding anything it can tell you, one of these little imported stories that it can run that get you to get away from there. The bottom line is, I'm not okay right now as I am. And if you can catch the defensive layer doing this, you know, if you can catch these stories and excuses doing this, and instead of doing it, breathe and feel your body, then something starts to process. Or if it's an excuse not to do the bioenergetics today, to say, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it. You know, if you need to be gentle with yourself, be gentle with yourself, but do the exercise and really, really feel what's going on, because that way you start to take a position. You know, that way your frontal lobes can start to get real control, because the reality of people's lives is the frontal lobes, although they got this power, they don't have the control. They're dominated by the midbrain, which is not a bad thing, but they're dominated by the midbrain and the defensive layer. They're totally dominated. The neocortex could be this incredible, powerful, beautiful, loving, amazing being it could drive you out into the world with, but it will never do it, because it won't do it unless you come to terms with your defensive layer, because it will be constantly hijacked. It'll be constantly hijacked, and we see this all the time. Neo, yo, hello, Dev. Yo, hello, Neo. Cool, man. Tell me why I have stomach pain after I do bioenergetic jumping for grounding. Then I massage stomach and pain is gone. Interesting. Well, you know, I mean, it sounds like you're doing something off my site, maybe the triple opener or this kind of, because that does pump a bit of energy into your bowels and your guts. And, you know, if you get, yeah, you're doing that. Okay, cool. Yeah, good exercise. Yeah, I mean, just watch. If the pain is acute, then you've got to be careful, because you don't know if there's something wrong with your bowel or something like that. But if it sounds like you massage the stomach and the pain is gone, it sounds like something is being processed, you know. The reality is there's a lot of muscular tension often around the belly, or some people take we create a lot of, I was always more tense up the belly and keep it under control kind of person. Some people are like, let's just keep stuffing myself with food so I don't have to feel what's going on in my belly type of person. You know, different genetically inherited responses to really feeling the volatility of the belly. But you know, if you massage it, obviously, and the pain is gone, then that's pretty good, basically. So unless the pain is really like stabbing, sharp pain, if you can massage it and it goes, then that sounds good. Don't push too hard. If you're getting pain, don't push too hard. It's always a little bit of a dilemma for me on YouTube to advise people, because if I can see someone doing something, then I can see pretty quickly, or chat to them, or, you know, just get a feel for it. I can give them good advice, and I have to, you know, it's not so easy on YouTube. Obviously, people just writing something in, so I have to more kind of err on the side of caution. And generally, if you get any level of real sort of muscular pain, be careful. You know, you're opening up the muscle system of your body, and it may have been closed and tense for a long fucking time, particularly muscles around the back of the legs, lower back and gut. You know, a lot of those muscles can have been tense for a long, long time, and we start to open them up. It might be a little bit much for them, going too fast to start with. So never be too worried about, you know, keep the practice going, but never be too worried about doing it a bit more relaxed. With the triple opener, for example, you don't have to do the jumping up and down on the heels. You can also do it just with a and really focus on the shoulders, because the shoulders are actually the hard bit for most people. Most people are chronic controllers of emotions, and the last thing they want to do is do this shoulder release, because it's a way that we throw off all the crap that our parents gave us And most of it we're merrily holding on to, even though it doesn't serve us, but we just keep on holding on to it. And if you do this, you really focus on that instead in the triple opener, that's going to give you a lot, because the triple opener is quite something to keep going with. Mostly people can do the grunt and the heels up in the air and down on autopilot, but you get the shoulders going as well. They drop that quite quickly. So you might want to do it with the grunt without the jumping up and down so much, and just see how that goes, and try it with the shoulders. Really, bring the shoulders in. Because when I see people do it, you can always spot the emotional controllers. In fact, I tell people that before I lead it, because no one wants the teacher to see them as an emotional controller. So it gives them an incentive to think, right, fuck it, I'm going to really move my fucking shoulders so this bastard doesn't think I'm an emotional controller. Essentially, stuff like that. Okay. Anyway, picking up a couple more viewers. I know I'm early today, a couple of hours early. I've got a meeting later on, and I can't do 6, and I would like to keep these live streams up. So I'm going to look at, when I can't do a Tuesday, do another one. I'll try and do it a little bit later in the day so the Americans can join in, because it's a little bit early for them, especially on the West Coast. Well, 8 o'clock now, I think. 8 o'clock, maybe Pacific Standard Time. I get used to it. A lot of clients out there. Ethan, I always had super tight hamstrings, and I thought of it as a typical weakness, but do you think it could be muscular armor related? Yep. Could be. I mean, very difficult to know for certain. I mean, the great thing to open up the backs of the legs in that whole area is the arch position. The arch position. That's something that's really, really useful. So, you might want to give that a go and see if something comes from it. Like I said, I've been doing these long bow and arches. I mean, they're not super long. Sometimes you could do 20 minutes down. That's really full on. This is like 8 minutes down, 7 minutes back with the chakra breathing, and that is that can be, that can really open up the back of the legs. Really open up the back of the legs, and you can just see, if you stick with that for a week or something, just see if like some kind of a change happens in the hamstrings. I'm not a muscular expert. I never did AMP, anatomy and physiology as a module. I've not learned officially massage. I can do basic massage intuitively, but I've never learned it properly. So I'm not an expert on the muscles in that sense. I'm more used to understanding and spotting muscular armor just intuitively these days, really. Anyway, thanks a lot. Keep going with these videos. Yes, I need to kick my own ass. With the workout videos, I want to put a few more out there and get a little bit more information going. There's quite a lot there. I think I even looked today, and there's something like 95 videos in the bioenergetics section now. So that's not bad, eh? That's not bad compared to most of the other YouTubers. A lot of them aren't particularly professional, but I think you get enough information, so it's useful. I've had a lot of people contact me over the last couple of years and say how helpful it's been. So that's that's nourishing for me. Anyway, if anyone's got another question, that's what I'm here for. Any little insights you want to share, or anything that's going on with your, with your bioenergetic practice or other stuff. I've also been back leading rebirthing again, and I led a session of that at the weekend, and that was very, very powerful for some people. And I'm adapting a little bit how I lead it, and people are asking me, "Oh, it's so good. Can you just record one?" And I need to sit down and do some of those projects. It tends to be little short things. I really do them, but I don't do quite enough of the long stuff. So I want to do a proper 1.5 hour audio recording for rebirthing. So I've changed the way I teach it a little bit, little subtle changes, and it seems to take people very deep now. So people reporting some really, really deep, powerful experiences. So I want to get that together and do a few more longer videos will be good. I always often want to get everybody, like the sessions I lead in the morning, to record those. But of course, you've got to have consent and blah, blah, blah. It's early in the morning. Don't feel like organising all that stuff. But that would be a handy resource for people as well. Because we do some quite kick-ass, full-on stuff in two 1-hour sessions that I do at 7 in the morning, often, sometimes 6. And those would be handy to have online, because, to follow along with some of that stuff would be very powerful for people. You can't really do the kind of hugging at the end so much on your own, but I mean, the sessions themselves could be useful. So I've got to look a little bit more into that and get a little bit more professional with some of these things. Ethan, thank you for the response. It's a problem I've had for years, so I'll see if a bio helps. Going to go for bow and arch, triple opener every day. Yeah, man. Go for it. Set yourself a workout and stick to it. Commit for a week or something like that, and really do it. And then you get used to it. You get used to it. After that, I cried like a baby. Yeah, yeah, man. That's so much stuff in there, and it's so good to be able to release it. So good to be able to release it, and not to be held back by the past all the time. Not to be held back by the past. So much potential in bioenergetics. So much potential, but it is so hard. Really, you got to be. You got to be. I'm looking at new ways. Have you heard any good music? Recently, I'm listening to Migos at the minute. People know I like hip hop, and they're kind of they're on tour with Drake at the moment, who I'm not a huge fan of, but he's a cool guy as well. But I'm listening to Migos Culture 2. I've been listening to it, driving my girlfriend nuts listening to that. Well, actually, she hasn't been complaining about it too much. I listen to it in the mornings before I start sessions. I was also listening. Sometimes I play because I work in a new age center, and the people are always listening to kind of spacey new age music, which is okay. But sometimes I play when I'm teaching bioenergetics. I play Cardi B or something to get the women a bit more kind of kick ass in their body. Kind of really brutal black women talking about all the money they've got and all the evil things they're going to do to other bitches who try to take their man or this kind of thing or whatever. It's got a bit more kick to it, and it's quite good to do. Good to do like the triple opener to a bit of good hip hop and that kind of thing, a bit of male side music, particularly if you're weak in that field. So I'm listening to that quite a lot. The Light is Leaving Us All by Current 93 is killer. Okay, yeah, man, I'll check that out. Or if you get a chance, link it to me on Google Play or something like that, and I'll definitely check that out, man. I'll definitely check that out. For sure. I always like a few links to tracks. Feel free. I bought some DJ equipment not long ago, but I New Year resolution, amongst others, I was going to DJ. My buddy Anna Prem, Rob Wilson is a good DJ and stuff, and some other friends, and they're all advanced away, and I've done fuck all. But the thing is, I've been doing a lot of other stuff, and I think I can drop the DJing really. I haven't downloaded hardly any music for about 2 years. I was quite into it for a while, and I'm just busy with other stuff. And you got to be pragmatic or realistic, or rather, at the end of the day, I've got to be realistic and say I'm not really getting this shit together with the DJing. So I've left it. I'll probably sell my mixer unit. But yeah, feel free to leave me some tracks. Like I say, I'm into the Migos at the minute, and I've been listening to that. And otherwise, I often listen to Michael E on Mixcloud, who's an old guy from Sheffield, who was a big guy in Ibiza back in the day, big DJ back there, and now he's just doing his own thing, more chill out stuff. I like a lot of the stuff he comes up with. It's getting a bit too classical at times for me, or a bit too schmaltzy. Probably having some big relationship with someone. Anyway, let's not digress too much. I've got a little bit more time. If anyone's got a question, just feel free to stick it out. I am here to do my best to help. And there's not a lot of bioenergetics online, so it's good to. It feels good, to stick it out there, and I'm going to stick some more out. I don't do so much. It's interesting, the screaming and shouting. Because that was the therapy I was mostly teaching before, and I came from a school where that was the dominant practice, emotional release. And it is good, but it's amazing what, a little bit of constraint in what you can do, like to limit the amount of noise you're allowed to make. And I found new ways to get the opening, and it's not as full on. The screaming and shouting releases a lot of anger and puts people quickly in the heart, and it's useful, but often the back remains with a lot of shit held in it, and you get this good personality, but you still haven't really gone as deep as you could. And the bio goes very deep, but it's quite a long process often, but you get a lot along the way. Do you like uplifting trance? Yeah, I like a bit of uplifting trance. I listen to a bit of that. I tend to, at the minute, since I've been doing a lot more gut-centered work myself, which has been, the kind of chakra area, the area of the body I've been working on in the last year, I get more into the hip hop and the kind of, the gut sort of, my kind of feeling, and that kind of stuff. So I'm more into that, but I do like a bit of uplifting trance, and it's good to have a bit of musical diversity. I still like house music, still like a bit of electro. These days, I have to confess that I hardly ever go out clubbing anymore. Even when I'm in Brighton and there's a load on, I get to the night and I think, oh God, do I want to be in there with a load of, teenagers out of their brains? And I think, and I kind of bottle it a little bit. Anyway. Sorry, can't really take links on there, Anyway, it's funny this, you got this. So I've started doing it on the laptop now, these live streams, and you have this little thing where you can kind of reject people or something like that, but I haven't had so many trolls recently. I had a few a while back, but I haven't had so many trolls recently. Who knows, maybe there'll be another spurt of them or something. I don't know that Chris necessarily is a troll, of course, but anyway, when people just post links and that kind of thing, it's like, anyway. So let's have a look. What else is happening? December, I've got a couple of nice workshops. London, I'm in London on November 18th on the Sunday. I've got a one-day workshop. There's quite a lot of interest in that. If you are interested in it, book soon, because the place where it is in the Capoeira Centre is not a huge room, and I can only really take 10 to 12 in there. Possibly I could squeeze a few more in and adapt the practice a little bit, but I think 10 to 12 would be realistic. So if you want to book, if you're interested to come to that in London, then come along. It'll be a bit more, I'm getting a bit more kick-ass these days. I'm still very careful with people, and if you're in deep feelings, you're in deep feelings, and I certainly will totally support you. But also, I'm getting a bit more kick-ass, and let's really move the energy a bit. So after I did deep screaming from the belly and those jumping exercises, my voice really got deeper. Yeah, it's good, hey? It's good, hey? My voice gets deeper slowly as well. Bit by bit, you get that. I get that kind of, if I want it, the kind of real London fucking gangster drawl, from the old days, like in the 70s. Just to link some music. Sorry, man. Sorry, I deleted your thing. I couldn't remember you, and I apologise. Let me yeah, I have to be a little bit careful, because sometimes I get the trolls and they start sending things or they start doing stuff. So because you hadn't said much more apart from hello earlier, that's a little bit like the kind of behaviour they come up with. So I apologise, but if you want to put it in there, you can. I don't really mind. What kind of music is it? But yeah, it's good to get. If you're a guy, basically, you need to get in your fucking belly. It's as simple as that. It's all very well to be caring and heartful and to open the heart and nice stuff. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But if you're not in your belly, you're not on a deep alchemical level. You're not in the main power center that you're meant to be in. And because I live in an alternative center, a lot of very soft guys around, and men who basically feel guilty about being male around. And they complain endlessly that the women, they get lots of female friends, but the women don't want to fuck them, basically, at the end of the day. And you can't rely on what people say, and they don't understand it. And the women say they want the nice guy, but then they don't want to have sex with me. Wine. And it's because you're not in your male center, But the bottom line is, like, when it comes, sex is mostly done at night, not only done at night. And in the nighttime mode of the brain for women, that they're hunted. The predator instinct is there. It's like you can't avoid it from your neocortical thought world. Your self-image. And it's just a heap of shit being the nice guy and expecting women to want you. It's not likely. I mean, if you're incredibly good looking or something like that, and tall, blonde, Chris Hemsworth type, and you're a nice guy, I dare say you're going to get laid. But if you're not in that category or whatever, you need to drop the fucking nice guy act if you want to have any women interested in you on a meaningful level at all, because it won't fucking get you there. Maybe a few who've been traumatized very heavily, because a lot of women have been traumatized, a lot of people have been traumatized, and they just need Mr. Soft Nice Guy. But if they get untraumatized, they'll drop you and go off with someone else. Basically, is the reality, and I see it because of the environment. I mean, I see it day in, day out, and they don't understand it. These nice guys, they don't understand it. They think they're doing everything right. And why do the girls not interested? It's because there's no male energy there. Where's the fucking polarity? Where's the energy? Now you could sometimes Mr. Nice Guy does get off with, if you find a real alpha female who can't access her softness at all, busy in the business world and out there kicking it in your boardroom, you might have a bit of success there, because they might want the softy, but the reality is also with the alpha females, they tend to go for even stronger alpha males in the bedroom, so they've got someone to submit to, in my experience. So, again, I have a lot of friends who are very heartful and stuff like that, and they're nice people, because it's nice to hang out with guys and be able to chat about all of this, deeper stuff inside, but you need the male side. You need both. And generally, when you go into soft phase, it takes a lot more effort to bring yourself back into the gut. It's not easy. It's better to start dealing with the heavy shit and then come up into the heart, the way I see it. No worries at all. I like to scream in the swimming pool. No one can hear you scream in space and underwater. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Wow, screaming in the... I never tried it underwater. Have you studied alchemy, or do you have thoughts about it? Yeah, I have, actually. It's not something I often talk about, but I was involved with the builders of the Adytum, who are kind of alchemical society from back in the day. And so I know a bit about that, but I don't usually talk about it or write about it or anything like that, because it's internal process work. And, you know, when you hang out in that scene, it's mostly full of very mindy kind of people who aren't remotely in their fucking bodies babbling on about bloody alchemy. And they are the worst fucking alchemists. You know, you probably find a better alchemist as some kind of, you know, hard nut hip hop singer somewhere. It's more naturally alchemical in what they're doing. They're just not interpreting it like that in their own, you know, narrative way of talking to themselves. But I have studied alchemy, and it is an interesting topic. And what it's really about at the end of the day is kind of transcending death, actually. You know, and developing like a kind of spiritual body. You know, there's a very famous, you can always read The True and Invisible Rosicrucian Order by Paul Foster Case, if you can find a copy of the thing. It's pretty ancient and probably not many copies around. But it's an interpretation of two major Rosicrucian documents that came out in the early 1700s in Germany, and then they're written in German and then British. And you can look at that. You can look at all that stuff. It's kind of difficult. It's difficult. Sorry. So that's what you look for, that book by Paul Foster Case, and you might, you know, it's an interesting book. He was an interesting writer. He wrote a book on the tarot as well. But, you know, it's when you work with these kind of process work, what they're really doing, probably maybe I shouldn't even say this on a live stream, what they're doing, for instance, you know, you might have to study the tarot for a period of years. And what it does is activate certain brain centers, and this is going to sound a bit weird. So certain discarnate entities can channel information through you. And communicate with you. That's essentially what it's doing. It might sound pretty fucking nuts, but it is actually what it, a lot of what it's doing. And from that, you know, you can be then guided into deeper levels of development. You know, so I know the scene a little bit. I don't really get involved in it in the sense of being out there in the world doing anything, but it's really a personal inner journey, and that. You know, can you explain what exactly it means to breathe in your balls? That sounds like an Elliot Hulse phrase to me. It's not one I use so much. I tend to tell people to breathe into their gut more, into their belly. But all it really means, you know, is that you stand up and you get your feet a bit wide apart and down low. You kind of feel into your balls, you know, your male side. You breathe down there and you feel into your balls. You know, it's masculine testosterone fire, and you know, it charges you up a bit. Shit, now I've just done something really stupid and spilled a bit of tea near my MacBook, which hopefully won't fuck it up. I might have to switch it off in a minute. Anyway, hopefully it doesn't suddenly go boom. That was really, really dumb of me. I don't believe I did that. But anyway, hopefully that explains what it means to breathe into your balls. And you know, it'll just give you male fire. You know, it's the kind of thing that soldiers would do before they go into battle. You know, pump their testosterone up to make them feel invincible to charge out into the world. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with it. Okay, I'm a little bit worried that my laptop's going to bollock up now that I've managed to spill a bit of chai in it. That was a really dumb-ass thing to do. God. Anyway, getting a bit overexcited. And let's just see. It seems to be okay so far. Let's hope it doesn't bollock up. Maybe I'll get a little bit of tissue in a minute to put on it. But if anyone's got a last question, let's you can just let me have it. And otherwise, I'm going to bring it to a close soon. I've done about 40 minutes, I think, or 44 minutes nearly. So if you've got a last question, just put it out. Yeah, it'd be fun. I'm going to meet Elliot on Saturday or Sunday, so I'll be interested to meet him in person now that he's in London. Okay, guys. I think we're coming to the end. Remember, bottom line is keep doing it. Keep doing the bioenergetics. Don't listen to too much blah, blah from your defensive layer. Look what is practical for you to commit to and go for it. I'll let you know how my practice goes next week. Yeah, I should be. Hopefully next Tuesday, 6 p.m. I can do it. That's what I'm hoping. Okay, guys. Speak to you later, and over and out.